This week, the Today's Homeowner crew is making major headway on the Kuppersmith Project. Stick around as we start putting up the new walls that'll make this home exactly what today's family wants.
Been up there for, what, 84 years or something? Pretty hard. Hey, I tell you, there's so much going on this job on so many different levels. There's work being done inside, and we're doing a lot of tear out, probably more tear out over the last few weeks than we've done anything else. But now the new stuff's about to happen. The framework on all of the additions are about to start coming together, and that's where you can see a heck of a lot of progress.
The first order of business is creating the wood floor system on top of the block foundation walls. All that concrete work we've done so far won't matter at all if we don't get this part right. Every cut and every joint has to be just right here if we're gonna have a sturdy, smooth, level floor that won't squeak.
That's no better.
It gets even trickier when we start tying all of this into the existing house because we have to have a flawless transition between the old and the new. When it's all laid out like this, it's pretty impressive. The 3/4 inch tongue and groove decking goes down next. Heavy-duty construction adhesive and hundreds of nails ensure that this floor is rock solid. Wait, let's make that thousands of nails. The base or sole plates for the walls are nailed to the subfloor next. Then each wall is assembled on the ground before it's lifted up onto the sole plates. And these diagonal braces keep everything square while we're getting the ceiling joist and wall sheathing in place. Then the roof rafters can start going up and the profile of the house really starts taking shape.
One of the things that's kind of neat about doing this on television is we were just able to show you 2 weeks worth of work in just a couple minutes. And this is the exciting part. This is when you can really see how everything's gonna look, and you see a lot of progress in a relatively short period of time. And one of the things that helped him tremendously in making a lot of progress is we've had some fantastic weather. Now the guys are hustling right now trying to get all of the roof decking on and all of the roof wrap on so that everything will be nice and dried in. Then we can focus on a lot of the finish work. That's real important to keep the character of the house, but also something that I'm really wanting to achieve on this house is to get it as low maintenance as we possibly can. And Alan's been helping me on a little bit of research.
All right, so Danny wants to keep the character of the house and low maintenance. That means exterior wood like the fascia and the crown needs to be composite. And that's what we've got from Miratech, a wonderful piece. In fact, here's a piece of it right here. This looks like fiberboard. It's not. It's treated with a zinc borate. It is factory primed, 4 sides, impervious to water. Actually, you have a texture like cedar on this side. We're going to use the smooth to go back with something that looks like what was there before. The crown, we don't want wood. We're going to use this urethane foam product from Fipon. It's a closed cell, again, impervious to water, insects, splitting, rotting. Even treated with a UV protectant at the factory, this is going to hold up great.
And that's a good thing because there's a lot of it all over this house. The challenging thing about installing exterior crown molding as opposed to putting it up in your dining room, for example, is that there are so many more angles to deal with because it follows the roof line.
It's too dang much.
On the new areas of the house, we've had to add blocking first because the brick veneer hasn't been added yet. And that's the surface the trim will tie into. The idea, of course, is to duplicate the level of finish and detail present on the existing house on all the additions. So far, it seems to be working.
Well, we're definitely making a lot of progress outside, and now that the framing is almost complete, you can get a real feel of how everything's going to be inside. We'll look at that next, right after Joe's Simple Solution.
Whenever you're building anything out of plywood, you have to be concerned with how you're going to hide the edge because you don't want to see these plies. My favorite technique is to use veneer to cover up the plywood. And I use a heat-sensitive veneer that has a glue on the back, and you just iron it on. So you take a strip and you cut it a little longer than necessary, and then you just use a clothes iron. You make sure it's set on cotton and no steam. That's important, there's no steam. Okay, now we're just gonna repeat it on this other edge. So once that's down, you've got this edge you need to take off. Now you could sand it off, but I prefer using a file because there's less likely a chance of damaging the veneer on the panel itself. So this is a single cut mill bastard file, and you can see how easily and cleanly it cuts the veneer away. And you just hold it at a really sharp angle and just move along. Okay, so you're going to do that. Look, it takes it right off. You can do that on both edges, then come back, and to finish it up, a little 120 grit sandpaper.
Now that most of the framing is complete, I thought it'd be a perfect time to give you a quick little tour of the inside of the house and show you how everything's shaping up. Now, this is the original part of the house, and very little has changed here, but you can really start seeing the difference between the old and the new here in the area of the original kitchen. Looks pretty small right now compared to what we're working with here. This is a gigantic kitchen, and the design team at Marillac Cabinets and Better Homes and Gardens magazines working right now on the plans to create the perfect family-friendly kitchen. Now, speaking of family-friendly, this is the family room that looks right out onto this large porch. It's going to be screened in, and you have access from the kitchen as well as the master bedroom suite. Now, one area that nobody in the family is going to want to hang out in is this area. It's the laundry room. Fairly good size, and we got plenty of natural light that'll be coming in from a window we'll be installing there real soon. Then, for the guest, a little guest bathroom. It leads right into a very private area, which is the master bedroom suite. Nice size master bedroom. Again, leading out onto the porch. Then you definitely have a nice size closet in here, a walk-in closet for her, and a slightly smaller one for him. Then you lead right into the master bathroom. Now, I've been working on the design of this thing for over a year, and well, things are shaping up pretty well, but this is my set of plans, and you'll notice a few changes are taking place. Now, most of the notes you see on here are things that were changing a little bit here and there, but unfortunately, there's a slightly larger change that's taking place on the roof. We've tried to keep as much of the original house intact as possible, and very few changes have taken place upstairs other than a few new walls to establish a couple closets and kind of restructure the existing bathroom. Also, since we have no windows right now, it gives us great access to the roof. This is the roof over the new part of the kitchen as well as the brand new back porch we're creating. And you'll notice that the pitch on this roof is a little lazier than we have on the house and the other addition that we built. The reason for that is we were limited on how high we could go with the roof because of the size of that bedroom window. Now, we could put a smaller window in, but you want as much as natural light into that room as you can get. Plus, it's a code issue. You have to have a certain size window in a bedroom like that to allow a family member to escape in the case of a fire. So we can't go any smaller there, but I'll tell you, this really looks bad from this elevation because it looks like a flat roof, and it just loses something with all of this nice steep pitch roofs on either side of it. So what I've decided to do, it's going to cost a little money, is to move that window over, and that will allow this roof to pitch up much steeper and tie back in to the same lazier roof over there. That way, from this side, you'll be able to see shingles all the way along here, and I know it'll look a lot better. But this kind of demo is never any fun because it was just built. This roof doesn't want to come apart very easily.
Yeah, go ahead and cut all these down, then we'll cut the hangers loose.
Cut the hanger off.
The new roof with the steeper pitch starts with the new ridge that will run from the house over the breezeway to the garage. Then the guys will fill in the rafters with the new angle on the street side before tying the other side into the lazier pitch of the porch roof. Once they cover it with decking, we're back in business, and just in time, since our good luck with the weather has finally taken a turn. Alan, we were so darn lucky that the weather held off for them to get the roofing on in the back, but I guess we talked about all that good weather a little too much. It's been pretty nasty here.
Well, you know, we can't complain because it has been nice, but it really is holding us off and getting the shakes on, and that's really our next big step.
Right. Well, they're making a pretty good bit of progress there, and it looks really, really nice. And what we're using is a Cypress Shake on the gables of the Kuppersmith home. And the reason that we're not using a synthetic material on this, like Alan talked talked about earlier, is that this is such a character-rich house, and this is a big part of maintaining that character. Now, I know you looked at all kinds of alternatives as far as other ways that we could go with some synthetic material.
Yeah, and we've got some composites, some fiber cement type style here, vinyl, and really it's not that they look bad.
That looks pretty good,
Actually,
really.
I like
Actually,
this.
that's going to end up being the color, very close to the color we're going to stain the Cypress Shakes.
Right, but when you actually look at the Cypress, it came down to that character that you keep talking about. That really outweighed the decision, so that we wanted this type of character. I mean, look at the knots and the rich grain of this.
Yeah, I know, that's going to look great. You know, there's so many products to choose from, and that's one of the challenges that you have when you're doing any kind of home improvement projects. But let's check in and see what Jody's found in this week's Best New Product.
Now, if you're in the market for an energy-efficient appliance, you might want to take a look at your washing machine. You'd be amazed at how much money you can save just right there by upgrading your appliance. Take a look at this right here. This is the LG Wave Force. Now, if you open up the lid here, one of the things you're first going to notice is that there's no center agitator. With this type of drum, it's got a rapid movement, and then you can see all the perforated holes around the edges. That's where high-powered water jets come in, and they mix with your detergent to clean your clothes very efficiently and effectively, but also very gently. With this type of technology, it now means that you can get great clean clothes by using cold water. We always used to have to think you'd have warm water or hot water to clean your clothes. Another thing I like about this is take a look at this little dispensing tray. You put your softener, your detergent, and your bleach right here all at the same time. Close it up, close the lid, turn it on, and now you don't even have to think about it and time it so that you make sure all of your different liquids and fabric softeners are in at the same time. This is a great way to save time, energy, and of course money.
The Kuppersmith Project has looked like a shell of its former self for the last few weeks, but now that we're installing the new Cypress Shakes, the character is coming back and the change is fabulous. When you see these gables covered with this stuff, you just can't help but like the place. It's like a friendly smile, begging you to come closer and meet someone. But installing these things is a little more time consuming than most other siding material.
Try to get out a couple different stacks. They cut these all out of the same board. We'll have a pattern in the way the board looks.
The shakes are small pieces that go up just one at a time.
Every so often I plumb one of them up.
And each one has to be trimmed around obstacles like the gable vents.
That may get it, maybe not, we might have to do it again.
On the side walls of the second floor, where there are a few odd angles, the work becomes even more tedious. The shakes can go only so far here until the new windows go in. The windows we're using for both the existing house and the additions are insulated wood windows from Geldwin,
Hard to get them fingers in there and drive a nail.
with a vinyl-coated aluminum cladding on the outside. The insulation makes them more energy efficient, the cladding makes them low maintenance, and taping the perimeter of each unit before the composite trim is added will keep out the drafts that used to blow freely through this old place. Now, this window was a little harder to figure out what to do. Now, this is in the laundry room, and if I had gone with the traditional window that's similar in size to that, it would have been down to the point that you have seen the back side of the washer and dryer. We didn't want that, so I decided to go with this style window, and I'm not sure what you think, but I think it's just perfect for this part of the house, kind of a good transition between the old part of the house and this new bedroom addition. Now, we use the same exact type of windows so that we can ensure that once the brickwork is up and a little bit of cleanup is done, no one will know where the old meets the new. But today, because the weather is so nice, we're concentrating on getting all of the shingles installed on this steep roof. The shingles we're using here are asphalt shingles, partially because that's what was here before. But unlike the old 3-tab style shingles, these are architectural or dimensional shingles. After the porch roof was covered, we decided to add a few skylights to brighten up that area. So once the holes are cut out, Doug handles the installation of those himself because the shallow pitch here makes that a really tricky job. These units are from Velux and are designed with multiple layers of protection to make sure we never have any leaks from them. Now, while the roofers are hard at work, so are the stucco installers. They begin by hanging cement backer board across the surface to be covered.
These individual pieces are seamed together with a fiberglass mesh tape and coated with stucco to keep the joints from showing through the finished surface. After that, a base coat covers the whole thing before the color tinted final coat is applied. With the outside quickly being taken care of, we can turn some attention to the inside of this project where we're laying out the details for plumbing, electrical, and heating and cooling. Meeting with each of these subcontractors to discuss the specifics of their work here is crucial to getting what we want. It also clarifies a lot of issues for these guys and lets us take advantage of their input.
I do these two by themselves, the chandelier by themselves, and then these two by themselves.
Let's do that. No matter how well you plan a project like this, even the most detailed plans don't always line up perfectly with the on-site realities.
Now, the measurement of this doesn't work out on the floor over there.
These guys also know the codes that apply to their trade better than we do, so they can help determine what is and what isn't possible.
And so I'll be able to take that one out 2 inch, and I'll run 3 inch up to the upper floor, stick a bushing in it, run 2 inch on out, because minimum on a 3 inch is 2 inch vent line. And so we'll be okay to run a 2 out and reduce it down.
Okay, good. While we continue thinking out loud with these guys, why don't you do some thinking green? If I were to list the top 3 things to change in your home to reflect greener living, it would include insulation, lighting, and water heating. As far as water heating goes, finding a really efficient electric water heater has been a challenge. Even the electric tankless models don't have that good of a track record. A closer look at the heat pump water heater may be in order though. They're usually 3 times more efficient than your standard electric water heater, which means they can produce the same amount of hot water for 1/3 the amount of electricity by pumping existing heat from the surrounding area into the storage tank. As an added benefit, cooler, drier air is returned to the room. This still may not be as efficient as some gas models, but it's a giant green step forward for electricity. We've made some major progress here on the Kuppersmith Project this week. With the additions to the house frame, it's taken on a much more imposing presence. And for the most part, the weather has cooperated to let us get it sealed up to protect all that new wood. Our new windows have sealed up most of the openings and the roof is nearing completion, so we shouldn't have to sweat the weather forecast so much every morning. Boy, I tell you, over the last couple weeks, this project has really come together on the outside. Our roofers will completely finish all of their work in just a couple hours. Our stucco contractors finished. Most of the windows and doors are installed, and we're ready for our brick masons to show up in a couple days and start the tough task of piecing all of the old bricks and the new bricks together that'll pretty much complete the exterior of the house. Then all we'll have to do is a little bit of painting, a little bit of landscaping, and everything will be complete. But at this stage, the best view in the house is on this side. Take a look. I'm Danny Lipford. We'll see you next week. If you never pay attention to the special thanks credits, be sure you do this time. Our Kuppersmith Project partners are the best in the business.